What's up everybody, Nate here, and I recently saw the most ridiculous and outrageous home buying TikTok that I have ever seen. So today I thought I would kind of share with you, do a little reaction to it, talk about why this is the biggest mistake that I see most Americans do when they're buying their home, and of course, how you can avoid this mistake in the future. So let's go ahead and watch the video.
Can someone get a mortgage with a 600 credit score and a $47,000 salary?
Yeah. So remember, first time home
credit
buyer, we go all the way
score,
down to
$47,000 salary. Let's see what he says.
We use FICO, by the way. Now, for a
$580 is pretty low.
a year income, your purchase power with principal, interest, taxes, and insurance, everything included, is going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $250,000 to $275,000 on the purchase. This is assuming you don't have any debt. So if you have a car payment or credit cards,
$250,000 to $275,000. Okay, wow. Let's break that down. Now, this video is from Chris and Lee Mortgage on TikTok, and I will link in the description the original video if you want to go check it out, and all of this creators' other videos. And I'm sure they meant no harm by posting this video, but this is a big problem. So basically, to recap, they're saying that somebody with a 600 credit score, $47,000 a year, mind you, zero debt, can afford a $275,000 house in the United States. And to be honest with you, that is just not true. This is a pretty serious problem that I see a lot of Americans make, and they're stretching themselves way too thin when it comes to a mortgage. I actually pulled up a mortgage calculator here, so I want to kind of break down the numbers and show you what you can actually afford and what this payment actually breaks down to if you were to buy a $275,000 house with $47,000 a year in income and a 600 credit score. So I pulled up just a basic calculator from Google, and you can punch these numbers into any calculator that you want and you're going to get slightly different numbers, but for the most part, we're going to use this Google calculator. So if you check the numbers out here, $275,000 is your home price. That is what the house is going to be listed at. And let's assume here that you're going to put down 20%, so that way you don't have to pay any PMI or anything else. So you have 20% down on the home, which is going to be $55,000. You're going to use a 30-year fixed interest rate. That is going to mean that your interest rate is going to be a little bit higher on the front end, but in the long term, you're actually going to be saving money. Current interest rates are around the 6 to 7% mark, so I kind of threw in the numbers at 6.5%. And of course, your credit score is right around the 600 range. Now, I'm not even going to touch property taxes or insurance or any of that because that's going to vary depending on the actual home and depending on the area, and it can really go up or down from there. But based on this calculation, your monthly payment for a $275,000 home would be $1,391. But what you have to understand here is this is just the absolute baseline for your home buying journey, and what many Americans don't assume is everything else that is associated with the cost of a home. $1,391 is your monthly mortgage payment, which doesn't sound like a lot until we start breaking down your income if you made $47,000. So if you made $47,000 a year, I have my calculator handy right here. Let's say 47,000, and we'll divide that by 52 because there's 52 weeks in a year. So if we divide that by 52, that brings us to $903.84 every single week. Now, mind you, this is before taxes, so that is your gross amount. That is the amount that the mortgage companies are going to look at when you go get a home. They're going to look at your gross income, which is $47,000, not your net income. That's how they will determine if you can actually afford a home. So let's take that $903 and multiply it by 4. If we do that, it ends up being around $3,615.36 a month in gross income. Now that is pretty decent, and if you look at those numbers alone, $1,300 a month or so doesn't really seem like a lot. You're still going to be left with thousands of dollars every single month, right? Well, the problem here, and the problem that your banker and your mortgage company is not going to tell you, is that's not the money that is going to be used to pay for this mortgage. You are going to pay for the mortgage after taxes have been taken out of your income. Now, if you make around $47,000 a year, you can expect about 23% to 25% to be taken out from your income in taxes. So remember that $903? Well, you actually have to subtract around 25% of it. 25% of 903 is around $225. So your take home for every single weekly check that you get is around $678. And this is the money that will go towards your mortgage. Now, this is your net income, and if you multiply that by 4, you get $2,712. However, your mortgage was going to be $1,391. If you divide that by your total net income, that comes out to be around 51% of your entire income in one payment. Okay, I know that was a lot, but here's the reality. Somebody that makes $47,000 a year and has a 600 FICO credit score can absolutely afford to get a $275,000 home. However, you're going to have to put a whole lot more down, and you're going to have to hope that the interest rate on that mortgage is much lower than 6.5%. Technically speaking, you will have money left over if your mortgage payment is only $1,391 a month. You still have over $1,000 left, but we haven't even talked about feeding you. We haven't even talked about your energy bills. We haven't even talked about taxes and insurance for anything else. And that's not to mention any other bills you have, like student loans or a car loan. We need to add in gas money. And of course, there's going to be things that you want and need outside of your everyday expenses, like if you want to go on a vacation, or if you want to save money in an emergency fund, or if you want to invest for your future. That all comes out of that just over $1,000 that you have every single month after your mortgage payment. So to say somebody that makes $47,000 a year with a 600 credit score that even puts down 20% can afford a mortgage, well, that is extremely misleading. And now you probably watch a video like that and get really angry at the salesman or get really angry at this TikTok account. And to be honest with you, at the end of the day, this is a mortgage salesman. So a salesperson is going to try to make as much money as possible. That's how they put food on the table for their family. It is not a car salesman or a mortgage salesman or a banker's job to educate you on getting a mortgage or on what you can actually afford. Their job is to sell things to you and make money. That's why you, at the end of the day, have to be smarter than that, and you have to be financially educated and know how to manage your money. Because remember, this is all assuming all of the best things about the situation. This is just an umbrella that can kind of get your foot in the door. So they want to try to make a video, they want to try to sell a mortgage that is the most general as possible. That way they can get more bidders and more people interested in getting a mortgage. Once you're in the door, a mortgage salesman and a mortgage company can then work their way downward. They can realize that, one, you are a human American person and you have a little bit of debt. That is going to bring your purchasing power down a lot more. And interest rates are probably going to be higher, and your credit score is also going to fluctuate. This is the reality and the truths that they don't tell you about when you go to buy a home. And now the question becomes, how do you know what you can actually afford in a home? Well, this is going to be a very complicated answer. Banks and financial institutions will look at something called your debt to income ratio. So this is going to be all of your monthly expenses. So all of the things that you absolutely have to pay for every single month. So these are going to be like your student loans or credit card bills or an auto loan. Those are your monthly expenses. Next, you're going to take your pre-tax income or your gross income before taxes. Add those two things together and you get your debt to income ratio. Now, most banks are not going to give you a mortgage loan if your mortgage exceeds 28% of your monthly gross income. Your entire bills plus your monthly mortgage payment should not exceed 36%, and some places will even take that number up to 41% in order to get you into a home. Now, I am not your financial advisor. I am not going to sit here and tell you how to spend your money. That is ultimately going to come down to you and your long-term goals. But spending in this way will keep you broke for the distant future. Remember, a mortgage company's job is to make money. A banker's job is to make money, and they do that by selling you the largest loan possible. So they want to push you into a $275,000 house because that means more commissions and more fees for them. And just because you can technically afford a home doesn't mean that you should absolutely go for it. You have other expenses. You have other things that you need to pay for for, and the bank, a financial institution, is not going to look at all of those things. So you need to make sure that you can actually afford this house on your own before you go out and talk to them or buy one. Because yeah, while you can technically afford a $1,391 payment every single month, you're not going to have much left over, which means after all of your other expenses are paid and you put food on the table, you might end up with nothing, which is just going to hurt your long-term financial future. You're not going to have any money to invest. You're not going to have any money to save because you're pumping all of it into a house every single month. Now again, if that's what you want to do, that's totally up to you. For some people, that might be completely worth it, but you have to assess the risks here and you have to assess what you want right now. Do you want that big house, that big expensive house that you can put your family in, or do you want to downsize and save for your financial future? There are pros and cons to each, but you need to make the decision for yourself. A salesman's job is to sell, and that is exactly what they did in this video, so I don't fault them for that. He actually did a really good job kind of presenting the issues, and remember, he's not technically wrong here. You can technically afford a house with a 600 credit score, $47,000 a year, going for a $275,000 home. But the reality is a whole lot more complicated than that, and at the end of the day, your job is to protect yourself, your family, and your finances. But that is it for today's business and financial news breakdown. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to stay up to date with all the top business and financial news from around the country, our team puts together a free daily newsletter, and you can subscribe to it by clicking the link in this corner right here. And if you want to stay up to date with me and everything else happening in the business and financial world, I'm putting out updates 7 days a week over here on this channel, and I've actually got another one ready for you right here, so be sure to check that out before you go. That's it from me, everybody. Be kind out there, and I'll see you all in the next one.